Welcome to the Next Play podcast, where we're overcoming mistakes in life and in athletics. I've got our recurring special guest, Josh Templeton. Josh is here because he's my friend and because his episodes get more views than any other of our episodes. No offense to any of my other guests, but Josh, welcome again. Today we have a very special topic. First of all, how you doing?
Great. I'm doing great.
If you hear an echo, it's because Josh is actually in my living room. I don't know. Do you hear me, Josh? Do you
I
hear
don't
me?
hear you at all. Never
You don't
mind.
hear you don't hear me at all? You don't hear me? Good.
No.
All right, so that's good. So Josh and I are starting a special series. We're talking about parents and coaches. Parents, and we're going to look at it from every angle there possibly is. In this first episode, Josh is going to be the parent and I'm going to be the coach. Because Josh and I have something in common. We were both parents and we're both were coaches. So I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. Parents and coaches, the relationships, all this. What else we gonna talk about, Josh? This was actually your idea.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I don't think people understand what kind of dialogue they need to generate between their kid and their coach, their kid's coach.
Yeah.
Uh, and things happen and parents know their kids' personalities really well. And a lot of times they don't know how to communicate to a coach. So then it comes off as, oh, this parent's high maintenance or whatever, when actually, like, there's a better way to approach coaches when it needs to happen. And sometimes it does need to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Josh is a parent, and we're gonna talk about past experiences with parents, which are billions of them, and we're gonna talk about my experiences in both directions. So, Josh, let's start out with you. Just are kind of new to this whole parent to an athlete deal. So Josh was trying to keep his kids from playing athletics. So just keep that in mind. And then so Olivia, his oldest daughter, is artistic and an actor and in theater, all the good things. Does a great job with that. And well, first of all, let's start there. Have you ever been frustrated with any of her theater instructors, coaches,
Yeah,
everything?
yeah, of course. There was one. I remember I went to a dance recital. It was in Cleveland. Actually, it was at Bradley Central, I think. And there's this one girl that had like 14 dances, and this dance recital was 4 hours. And I started like counting how many dances this girl was in. And
Yeah.
my daughter had 3 dances, but we didn't pay the different price. So like it wasn't just the coach's fault, it was capitalism. And I went into a whole existential meltdown over the whole deal. Because my
So
daughter wasn't getting enough dances at the recital.
that is hilarious. All right, so Layla, his youngest daughter, is a volleyball player, and she is in seventh grade, correct?
Yes. And I'll show my growth through this whole process if I can give myself a pat on the back. Um, this next go round, I had done a little bit more coaching of high school kids and have done better, I think. So, I mean, we're still going, but I
Yeah.
also witnessed you as a sports parent and learned a lot of what not to do. Uh,
Okay, so that's great. I appreciate you pointing out my flaws. What was that as a sports parent? Would you care to elaborate on one instance?
oh, whether the team won or lost is meaningless, but how many shots your kid got or how many points they scored was way more important. And telling them that.
Yeah, yeah, there is that. So all right,
But
so let's go
it
with
was in
let's
jest. In your
do
defense, it was
what?
in
Do what?
jest. In your
I'm
defense, it
just
was in
honest.
jest.
Hey, I was honest with my kids and honest with people around me because I mean I just was. I mean come on. Right? I mean every other parent thinks that way too. They're just not going to admit it. So
Yeah, you're
are you genuinely telling me as a parent you would rather Layla's team win than Layla do well?
mm,
Exactly. There's the answer to that. So,
yeah,
you know,
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that. Anyway, I said I'm a work in progress. I did
yeah,
not say I was there. I'm just starting here. So I'm learning what a lot of you sports parents had to learn. Hey, and if Olivia got bricked on a part in one of the plays that was really important that she wanted, I'd probably have been salty about it a little bit. I'd be
yeah,
like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, at your daughter went to a place that has a one of the best theater, uh, whatever they're called, coaches, instructors in the
Yes.
world. I mean, she's amazing,
Shout
and
out to Lori Wortman. You should have her on the
yeah,
podcast. Their culture is amazing. I'll
it
tell you that.
really, and you know, there's a lot of similarities between. I've thought about, you know, having choir directors that are real
Yeah.
successful on here. Just talk about the difference between, I mean, the similarities, you know, between leading a group of people because it really
And
is.
honestly, I think that athletes would benefit greatly from being in high school plays and in that culture because it's such a culture of celebration and support.
Yeah.
Whereas athletics oftentimes, devolves into a culture of competition and jealousy. It's the opposite with and just kind of I think them being exposed to that, it helps them become better leaders for their team.
You say that, but the lead part in a play, they're the ones everybody's going crazy over. Then you have the like the quarterback, and then the behind the scenes people or the offensive line that never get any credit, and you know everybody tries
Yeah,
to
that's
clap
the
for them.
interesting thing behind the scenes, the director and the cast members are celebrating the person who just started first year just as much as they are the person who knocked it out of the park on the main solo. um it's just kind of what they do behind closed doors where everyone, it's not everybody gets a trophy, but everybody is like celebrated for what they do in their role, and they're trying to star in their role.
And it's almost as if they accept that.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't that we that's a great correlation. All right, so with Layla, so let's talk about Layla. Had a little issue with her coach. Coach was yelling at her.
yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, we had our first ever meltdown, in-game meltdown, and I doubt she minds me talking
Seventh
about
grade
it, but
volleyball player.
no, seventh
She's
grade
never gonna know. She's
volleyball.
not gonna listen to this, is she? She's not gonna listen. We'll
Nah,
tell her. Yeah, she'll be good.
but she don't mind. She likes being on stage too, so she don't
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Uh, so we were over there playing a game, and she's missed a couple of passes, and they were pretty easy. And the whole, how it's like when one person misses one free throw at the end of the game, and then it's like a disease, and everybody catches it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone's on tilt, missing free throws and
And
tightening up. And
volleyball's so emotional anyway. It's
oh,
like so
so
up and
emotional.
down. It's great. I do
Yeah,
clinics for volleyball. It's like, you know, why well, first of all, the score starts over every game, so that's part of the issue, or set,
yeah.
whatever you call them. And so
And there's volleyball's one of the few sports where there's legal trash talk. Like they celebrate and taunt in between every point.
what do you
And it's
mean?
like,
Like,
okay, so like our girls will get an ace, and their thing is, oh, ace in the face. Let's what like that. And it's like, dang. The girl will get a block, and they're all like, ooh, and
yeah,
pointing at the
yeah.
other. I'm like, this is great how the whole culture is like emphasizes that trash talk is an important part of the game, and no one gets mad about it.
That's funny. Yeah. Softball does a little bit of that too with their
Do they?
dugout stuff that they do,
Uh,
you know. Ball one, ball two, all that stuff. But, all right, so
hey, I
Layla's
gotta
playing
derail.
bad
Yeah, okay,
and
I'm coming back. I'm coming back to it, but I gotta derail for 1 second. I used to be on the grounds crew of the Chattanooga Lookouts, and they had the best, most professional trash talker I've ever seen. He was like an 85-year-old man with a mega horn and would talk trash to the other team's pitcher the whole game, and he sat in the bullpen. His name was Chester. I
yeah.
wonder what he's doing now. He was a good dude. Yeah, that was like 30 years ago, and he was 85. So I
Yeah,
don't know why I
most
delved into that.
well, I mean, that's a whole podcast. Like this one time we played, were you with me at Elon? No, I guess I was at Bluefield. And so we're playing Elon, and this dude's sitting right behind the bench. And you know how you feel someone staring at you.
Yes.
And I turn around, he goes, "Hey, Tommy." And I go, "Hey." And I thought, I'm in trouble. And I'm telling you, he had researched me. He was on me, and he was right. He would be like, "Tommy, why are you taking Corey Wade out right there? Tommy, you know y'all cannot win here without Corey Wade. Tommy, he's got two fouls. It's okay. Let's let it
You
roll."
gotta
And it was
play.
just constant commentary, and he was right behind you. It was unbelievable how good he was and how much in my head he was. So
I probably would have loved that because he would have been doing my job for me. I could just watch the game as your assistant.
oh
I was
man, yeah.
there.
Yeah, and then I had the one at Radford. They were making fun of my scar on my neck, saying I had a hickey, and it was skin cancer. So my daughter Eva Kate starts bawling, crying, and it's anyway. The trash talk. That's a good. We need to. Uh,
Is there healthy gamesmanship, or should it be something that's looked down upon? Because some of my favorite ever sports memories as a coach's son who was quite undersized was trash talk from the opponent's band or the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders always had some really good lines. It
I
was
mean, I
always
mean,
interesting.
I enjoyed a little. It was kind of fun. If you couldn't handle it,
Healthy gamesmanship,
yeah,
right?
no doubt about it. Like when you guys played Chetty Christian and y'all had the good, you put the good on
Oh
your shooting
yeah.
shirts, and they had student section had better shirts. I mean, that
That's
was pretty
classic. I mean,
clever.
I gave him a nod to that. I mean, I signed a shirt with my picture on it at Silverdale last year. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's
what are you gonna do if you
that's
can't laugh at
fun.
yourself? Healthy gamesmanship. It's all
Yeah,
good and
it's
fun.
it's fun. Certainly, you could take that too far, as I have
Absolutely.
done many times, but
Which is why it would make a good topic. So
yeah, 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 yeah. No
back to
doubt. No.
gamesmanship.
All right, so Layla is playing
Yes.
bad, and she's a good
So
player, good athlete. First of all, good little volleyball player.
she's a
Why
good
did she
player.
pick volleyball? You think?
She likes it. I don't know. It just was the one. She tried, she go to basketball camp. She went to our little kids camp a couple times, and she just I don't know. Some of her friends played volleyball, and she really liked it. And credit to the high school girls at Boyd Buchanan. Um, she didn't make the team last year as a sixth grader, and then they had this intramural program for any other kids that wanted to play that didn't make the team, and the high school girls coached them, so they got so much better. She got so much better so fast
Yeah.
through that, and made the team at Red Bank this year.
Hey, volleyball's growing all over the country. Like
It is.
I'll in girls basketball, I'm really worried about it. Like girls basketball's the numbers are way down everywhere I'll go. I'll go to a big school to do a clinic and a big, huge, 3,000, and they'll have 10 or 12 girls in their whole program. And then I'll do a volleyball clinic and there'll be 30 or 40. It's the numbers
Yeah, and
nationally are way
it's
down
so
for basketball.
exciting too. It's so exciting. I think Nebraska just had a volleyball game outside that had like 90
Yeah.
plus thousand people at it.
Yeah.
It's just such an exciting game to watch. And
It's an
well,
emotional game too.
yeah,
Yeah.
so during the emotion and excitement of the game, you know how we all as coaches, she has a young coach and she does a good job. They got a lot better this year. But that fine line between intensity and wanting to win and uh sometimes projects as yelling
Yeah.
and yelling at. And that happened a couple times. And then she called a timeout and started yelling at her more. And Layla just had a full breakdown during the game, like crying and stuff during
So you're in the
timeouts.
stands. What are you thinking at this point? What are you feeling?
I'm trying to keep my wife off the court uh, from putting hands on her. Um, so I'm talking
And
her
Abby,
down,
by Josh's wife's not. I mean, she's pretty chill. She's not like crazy
super
either. So
chill. But you
yeah,
know how it is. You don't mess with my baby,
yeah,
uh, kind of
yeah.
thing. And
As you
Abby's
say
a good
that, and knowing
girl.
Abby the way I do, it's remarkable. There aren't more just crazy parents beating fights with
Yeah,
on running on the court. I mean, it's just crazy that they're. I
yeah.
mean,
I
because
mean,
yeah, I mean, we've all been there as parents where you've almost, and I'm the coach in this. You're supposed to be the parent, but because we're switching later on, but it's crazy how many times you want to go out there and say something. And it's just, I think the 24-hour rule maybe, if you don't know that, it's just, if you're a parent, don't go talk to the coach for 24
mm-mm.
hours till after the game. And that might be one of the greatest rules in life there is the 24-hour rule.
And
If you're angry about something.
it'd probably be good for yourself too. I think this would be a really good tip as well, one that's not talked about as much. Probably wait 24 hours before you make cryptic posts on Facebook. You know, whether it be about officials or because I doubt everyone knows what it's about.
Yeah.
And the coach always sees it. The coach always
Yeah.
sees it, and it doesn't help anything except hurt trust.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, cryptic posts on Facebook. Yeah, you don't have to.
And
Have a handful of friends that you can talk to about it.
yeah. And I'm telling you, if you think from a coaching perspective, when a parent comes and if you're a parent and you go get in a coach's face, if you think that's not going to be a negative, uh, is not going to come back tenfold negatively on your child, then you've lost your mind. I mean,
Yeah,
coaches, it's just, I wish coaches we could be objective and say, hey, it's just a parent. And coaches do try that, but it's impossible to not hold an athlete accountable for what their parents do. It's just it's just impossible. And some coaches may say they don't. Well, yes, they do. I mean, it's just it's tough. Thoughts on that?
yeah. Yeah, I do think the kids always hold it against you when you act out like that. They may say they don't, but I don't think that they think you're standing up. You're just making their life more complicated,
Yeah.
especially if they want to play. So, knowing these things, uh, Abby self-checked, I self-checked, and you know, I'm I'm kind of under the mind where I don't feel like anyone should be yelling derogatorily at anyone else's children anymore. It's one of the reasons
Yes,
why I want to get out of coaching.
and I
And
agree with that, which is
but
let's go
especially
ahead
my
and point
kids.
out that those are two of the most hypocritical statements ever.
They are.
More
And I
so on
am
my part than
guilty.
yours, but still.
I am so guilty. But when I look back at my coaching career, the times that I feel like I coached a player poorly almost always coincide right alongside of times that I lost emotional control.
I'm
So
laughing, but here's the irony of this statement. Sometimes I felt like if I wasn't on the brink of emotionally out of control, I wasn't doing
yeah.
a very good job.
And
Thoughts on that?
I wonder if that
There's a
was
line that
how
I
you felt,
crossed. What?
how you felt. I wonder if that was your feelings about it. I wonder if the players actually were like that. You know what I mean? And yay, you coached some lazy players. So you could be right on some of that stuff. And that's why it's such a nuanced topic. But seventh
Hard.
grade girls who are really trying their best, they just started playing. I mean, it was kind of rough. Anyway, so we were putting the pieces back together in the car, uh, telling her everybody has bad games, and if your coach, you don't like your coach yelling at you, and you shut down. She's telling us about that, and we're like, well, if that's the case, then maybe you need to say something to her about it. Well, they go to practice, and the coach is doing the whole same thing. Like, some of y'all need to get thicker skin and be able to play through. And Layla's internalizing this whole thing, saying, coming home crying again, saying she's only talking about me.
Yeah.
And so then her coach, this is where you get to play the coach. Her coach makes the decision to text her and
Yeah.
says, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. Which is
And
not, which is good, I guess, right? She
yes, it
started the
opens the
conversation.
door. It opens the
Yeah, that's
door.
great. Recognizing
And
and absolutely.
that's a decision that I don't think a lot of coaches make. And this is one of the reasons why I like this coach. She's very passionate.
Yeah.
She
That's
really
a great
cared.
move on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
she really actually did care about the team, and she made adjustments based on what her players could and couldn't handle. And
Yeah.
those girls got better every single game. So she says, "What is wrong with you?" So here's the text she gets back from Layla. Tell me if this is from a 12-year-old girl. She says, "Coach, I have a really hard time focusing and keeping my eyes on the ball and not freezing up if I'm being yelled at. Um, if there's another way."
Very mature statement from
Yeah.
a 13-year-old girl that didn't have help from her father on that. So
Yeah,
great job.
absolutely. If there's
Yeah.
another way that you can find to motivate me, I promise you I'll be the hardest worker that you have all season
Wow.
long. And I really appreciate it. I just have a really hard time with it.
So what's happened in the last couple of weeks since this happened?
So what's your response to that?
My response to that is,
What would your response be if you were her?
oh, as a coach, my response would be, I mean, I hope I would say, hey, I get it. I'm sorry. It's emotional. I think I would embrace responsibility there and say, I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. I thought,
Mhm.
sometimes I think so highly of you. Sometimes I may yell at
That's a
you just to set an example for everybody else because I thought you could handle it. So, it was really what I'm sure she probably thought she could yell at her
yeah,
because Layla could handle it and it would actually help the team. And coaches do that all the time. They blow off steam on someone who they think can handle it, and
yeah,
whether
and
they can or not.
I actually think that's what happened during that game. And then uh Layla had the breakdown, and she actually did what you just did there. I think is a great statement. Is like, I think so highly of you. Like, you've set a standard here, and I think that you're good, and that's why I'm coaching you. The honoring statements on those feedback, that's what she went to.
Yeah,
Um, and then she explained why she was coaching her so hard and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. And then she explained how, she told her that she was one of her favorite players that she's coached, and
yeah.
a bunch of really encouraging things. And Layla's diving all over the floor for the rest of the season.
That's
Like
awesome. That's
the
real.
last
That's
girl,
really
like,
cool.
I mean, it was a
Yeah,
great situation. It was one of those situations that, as a parent, I feel like if she sent my daughter that text that night,
yeah,
and I don't think I would have had as good of advice to give Layla.
yeah,
It probably would have been like, "Hey, stop yelling at me.
yeah,
It doesn't help," or something. You know what I mean?
yeah. That
Like, because
break.
I was mad. Like, the break helped a lot, and it
Yes.
was really cool to see a young coach really, you know,
Yeah.
not taking offense and digging in heels, but actually listening to their player.
Well, it was great from all, you did great as a parent and Layla did great as an athlete, and it was all handled great. And then, but just think, you're right. I mean, think of how it could have gone wrong every step of the way, from Abby going out
Yeah.
there to, Abby gets banned for the rest of the season. Layla quits anyway. I mean, it could have easily fallen off.
Oh,
It,
so
it,
badly.
yeah. All
And
right,
I'll tell you that
let's,
those car rides home are precarious. They are
oh,
precarious when you know your kid is right.
oh God.
You
All
know
right.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Let's stop there because that's a topic when you know your kid is right. Because I get to be the
Ooh,
parent in the next episode.
yes, let's do it.
So give us a 5-star review. That's gonna end this episode with Josh. Give us a 5-star review. Subscribe on YouTube, and if you got something negative to say, just keep it to yourself because I don't really take bad feedback that well. So anyway, Josh, we'll see you next time.
Later.